Hi, welcome to Crazy for Cars TV. I'm your host, Steve Gray, and this week we're coming to you from the Kirkwood Highway Cruise. Most specifically, right now we're at the Price's Corner show that kind of kicks off the Kirkwood Highway Cruise. And I'm fortunate enough to open the show this week with Miss Delaware.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you very much for joining. You make the show look a lot nicer. Now, I heard earlier you were talking about some sponsors and your talent and that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about what you do as Miss Delaware.
So as Miss Delaware, I'm preparing to go to Miss America coming up very soon. It'll be on September 9th. And a lot of it, the biggest part for me is practicing my talent. And mine's a little bit different. I cannot sing at all. I speed paint.
Now tell us, we talked about this a little bit earlier, speed painting. She doesn't paint cars, but tell us,
I do not.
Tell us, it was, and I'm gonna throw you under the bus. It's 90 seconds, right?
Yes, it's only 90 seconds and I do it upside down. So the whole time you're watching, you're like, what the heck is she painting? And at the very end, I flip it over and you can see what it is.
That's incredible. I've seen that a couple of times. I think America's Got Talent had somebody do that. It was just amazing.
It's
and that's
a lot of fun.
And it's impressive too.
Thank you.
Now we're standing here in front of the Batmobile.
Yes.
We asked her what's your favorite car at the show, and you said the Batmobile. It looks really cool. That's an excellent choice.
Cool. It's really cool. And, you know, I've seen all the Batman movies and the old Batman show and the cartoons, and I really like it.
Well, thank you very much for joining us. Thanks for kicking off the show with us, and I'm sure you'll be around the rest of the show.
Yes, definitely.
Well, thank you very much. Well, I've made my way over to this gorgeous yellow street rod, and those of you that are old watchers to the show will remember Scott, and remember that I said what an amazing paint job this had on it way back in the day. Scott, tell us a little bit about the car.
That's no paint on there.
I know.
That's gel coat, right? It's the same thing. Nothing's changed other than the mileage, which is 22,000 now. So we're out enjoying it, having a good time.
Now, Scott also is the host of the Delaware Park Show. Anybody even close to this area is very familiar with the Delaware Park Show. We are going to be shooting one of our next shows from Delaware Park. It's one not to miss. It's like the biggest in the area for the kind of show that it is. Scott, tell us a little bit about that show.
The next show, we do it twice a year, May and October. The next one will be October 27th. Open to all years, makes and models. If you're interested in cars or looking at them or have one, we'd be more than happy to have you down there. It's a good time. Craft beer vendors, around 30 craft beer vendors. It's been a good time.
The show is actually beers and gears. Of course, the cars part is the car part is the gears. But there are how many craft beer vendors?
Minimum of 32.
That's a lot. That's a lot of beers.
Yeah.
You just like have one of each, and you're having a great day.
It all works out great. Tons of spectators. It's a real good time. It's worked out real nice.
How many cars have we had down at that show in the past?
We've had for the October show. Traditionally, it's been a little bigger, just over 800, and in May we had just over 600.
600 to 800 cars. That's a crazy big show. And and like you said, there's all kinds of cars there. I mean, all makes, all models. Just everybody's welcome.
Yep. Anybody with an interest, come on down. Feel free.
Scott, thank you very much for talking to us about Delaware Park. We'll see you down there.
Thank you for coming.
If not sooner. Thanks.
Good to have you guys back too.
Thanks. Well, we look at a lot of hot powered, big powered muscle cars, street rides, and that kind of thing on this show. We've made our way over to a 63, right? 63 Ford Falcon.
63.
Tell us your name. Tell us a little bit about the car.
Norm Steinbach. It's a 63 Ford Falcon. Had it a little over a year, getting on the road and getting it running. I kind of like the unfinished look, the natural original look. So far it's been a lot of fun.
It's nice to see a Survivor. They're only original once, and this, of course, is a high horsepower, high muscle car with a 170 cubic inch motor.
Correct, about 90 horsepower, I think. When it was new, it's probably about 50 today. It's been ridden a lot.
Well, that's great. I mean, that's what they're for, and it's great to see somebody out enjoying it. How long have you had it?
A little over a year. I drive it to work a couple days a week. Actually, when the weather not too hot, not too cold, I drive it to work. It's a fun car. A lot of fun.
Does the air conditioner blow cold?
Semi-cold.
Just kidding. I'm looking right at it. There we go. So you've had it just a short while, but you do drive it. That's great.
Yes. Yeah. Put a lot of work into it to keep it running good and keep it running safe, and get a lot of thumbs up when I'm driving. It's a lot of fun.
It really is. Well, thank you very much for showing it to us today.
You. Have a great day.
Well, those of you that have watched this show for years and those of you that know me well know that deep down I'm a Mopar guy, and I love my Mopars. We've been watching the auctions on TV lately, and some of these have been just going for ridiculous money. I'm here with it. It's a 440 1970 Cuda. Tell us your name and tell us a little bit about the car.
Tom Favoroso, and it's a 1970 446 pack numbers matching car.
It's a numbers car. That's fantastic.
Yes, it is, yeah.
How long have you had it?
About a year and a half now.
Did you do any of the restoration on it? Or?
Some of the work, but it was pretty much rotisserie restored back in 2010. And since I got it, the only thing, the last owner, he changed it from an automatic to a 4-speed with the pistol grip.
Okay, I was just going to ask you, so I didn't look inside to see if it was just a 2-pedal car or a 3-pedal car, but you answered that already. So now, a lot of people that are watching this don't know a lot about the Mopar stuff. Tell us a little bit about, I mean, there was elastomeric bumper cars, and then there was the chrome bumper cars. What was the difference?
Basically, it's just options. They had a long list of options for these cars, and you could order you could order just a front electroelastic bumper, or the rear, or both, or chrome. This one just happens to have both chrome front and rear.
It's a look that I like, and for the period, I mean, chrome was in back in the day.
That's why I liked it, because of the chrome. That's about the only. There's not much chrome on this one because everything's painted either red or orange.
Right. Right now, under the hood, we've got an original style battery. Now, is that like all the way through original battery, or is that one of the toppers?
It's a reproduction battery. It's an original reproduction of the original battery, so it's an actual maintenance-free reproduction, maintenance-free battery.
Okay, so we don't have to worry about the battery acid leaking out of those little screw caps.
No, the caps are sealed. Yeah.
Well, this is just absolutely gorgeous car. I don't know if the camera's picking up how nice it is. We've got a reproduction window sticker in there to take a look to see what crazy cheap money at the time this thing sold for.
The same price it's on the sticker.
Well, I'm standing right here, and everybody watching on TV will see it. I'll give you all the money that sticker says right now.
Yeah, that's exactly what I've heard before, yes.
I'm sure you have. Well, hey, thank you very much for talking to us about the car.
Thank you.
Good luck with it.
I appreciate that. Thanks.
Well, we've made our way over to what I found out was a 68 Camaro. I asked it. I thought it was a 69, and I got that one wrong, but that's okay. I know my Mopars pretty well. I'm here with the owner. Tell us your name. Tell us a little bit about the car.
Rich Wyatt. It's a true 68 SS. I put a crate motor in it. The original 396 was wore out. Instead of building a new motor, I just bought one out of the crate, and we've done work to it. It's got probably 550 horses. It's got a 5-speed Tremec 600 behind it, Moser rear. It's been completely done.
It's a great looking car.
Interior was done by Bob Sapp down in Milford, and I'm tickled to death with the car.
It's great. I'm sure it runs as good as it looks.
Oh,
now,
it
how hard?
runs.
I'm sure it does. How hard is it to keep it that shiny under the hood?
It's garage kept.
Well, I know, but that aluminum, keeping that aluminum polish, got to be tough.
Well, there's tricks to that. I got some good stuff I work with, but like the valve covers are chrome.
Right.
And chrome, you just wipe it off.
Right.
And all that polished aluminum, you just wipe, elbow.
All right. Now, has it? I'm looking at tires out back. Has it seen the track?
No, never seen a track.
Never seen the track?
I like to play with it a little bit on the street, and that's it. It's not a track car. You know, it costs too much to fix them.
Yeah, tell me that.
The transmission's $3,000.
I know. If anybody's watched some of the old shows back with Jimmy Biggs when he was shooting this, they've seen me at the track tearing plenty up.
He interviewed this car.
Yeah.
Back in the days. It's been done for about 15 years now.
It's a great looking car. Thank you very much for showing it to us.
Thank you.
We've made our way over to pretty much another Volkswagen. Those of you that saw the last episode will recognize this gentleman. He had the Volkswagen that was fully restored up at the previous show. Oh yeah, up at Three Little Bakers up at the church. Tell us a little bit about what we're looking at today.
I just built it in like 1 year. I just having fun driving it.
Now, I know a little bit about these. I know that there's Manx was one of the manufacturers that's pretty popular. This is not a Manx, correct?
It's from Harrisburg. They're the only place close by that sells the parts and build a body.
Okay, well, it's a great looking car. Now, you put this all together yourself.
Spent a year in the garage putting it together.
How about the paint? Did you do the paint?
No, it comes in different colors on the gel coat. So I don't have to paint nothing but the frame when I cut it.
Oh, fantastic. That makes the job easier. Now, how about the engine? Did you do any work back there to the engine?
I restored it, or overhauled it back to what it should be.
All right. I mean, maybe like performance parts or anything done to it?
No, just leave it stock engine.
Just leaving it stock? That's great. I'm sure it gets down the road pretty well. It obviously doesn't weigh very much.
It doesn't.
Does the top come off?
It will if I unbolt it.
It unbolts and comes off? It's a neat look with the top. You don't see many of them that way.
Yeah, 'cause a lot of people would rather go for the canvas, but they make a lot of noise, so I paid a couple $100, bought the fiberglass and bolted it on.
Okay. Well, it's a great, great looking Volkswagen dune buggy. Thanks for bringing it out and showing it to us today.
You're welcome.
This is about as different as looking at Miss Delaware for me. I don't know much about these at all, but I've got the owner here, and I'm sure he can tell us a lot more about it.
It's a 1954 MGTF. This particular one they only built 25 of, and this was the 25th one built. It's the only one known to be on the east coast of America, along with the hood ornament that's even rarer than the car is. That's a 1934 Midge, and all these cars that MG made were called midgets, and they were named after that bug, not after a small person. Turned out, though, it was a marketing flop. Nobody wanted a pest insect on the front of their car, so they stopped making them in the 1 year, and that may be the only one on the east coast of America.
Well, Bob, you're giving me an education, too, and everybody that's watching this is learning a lot. Now, did you put this all back together?
No, I'm the fourth owner. It was originally in boxes, disassembled, and it took the first 3 owners to finally get it to run. I bought it with only 205 miles on it.
Wow.
But I worked my way through college as an auto mechanic, so I was able to finish it off. I've added some features to it, and unfortunately you're not seeing the picnic basket that's normally on it. But because of the weather, we took it off today. But it came with the car.
The picnic basket did?
Yes. In England they call them hampers. And so it came with a British hamper on the back.
Now, I've seen this out to a lot of shows. Like I started saying before, when I had the little 356, I brought it out, and you were there then. It's a great looking car. Now, you take this to a lot of shows.
I do. And at this year, and I hope I don't sound too egotistical, but I'm 1 or 2 trophies away from winning 200 in the 8 years I've owned the car, which obviously means I go to a lot of shows because I don't win all the time.
You win most of the time.
Often. But it is, as you pointed out, it's a very distinctive car. It's very eye-catching and very photographic. So it's been in a television commercial. It's been in magazines and newspapers. So it's like I say, very eye candy, I guess you'd have to say.
Anybody that's owned a black car knows how hard black is to keep up with. And the camera always makes everything look good, but trust your eyes when you're looking at this. It looks every bit as good live as what it looks like on TV.
And it's the original paint, which blows people away.
So that would be lacquer from back in the day.
Yes, it's lacquer, so it's illegal in this country to use that paint now, but it's stood the test of time pretty well.
Well, thank you very much for bringing it out and talking to us about it today, and thanks a lot for showing it to us.
Well, thank you. Have a nice day.
Thanks. Well, I've made my way over to this beautiful 66 Corvette. I'm here with the owner, Bob Avery. Bob, tell us a little bit about the car.
Well, I purchased the car in Canada in 1996. It was a well-worn 30-year-old car at the time. Trailered it home and completely nut and bolt body off restoration. And my wife and I have been enjoying it for the past 22 years.
It's a great car. I mean, everybody knows that I'm a Mopar guy. I know like a little bit about Corvettes, side pipes, knockoffs, convertible, big block. Almost every order box was checked on this car except for air conditioning, right?
Well, that's right. And you really couldn't get air conditioning in the 425 horse because they had problems with holding the belts on. So this has power brakes, and that's it. I mean, it's 425 horse, 427. And I think if you check back in the history of this color combination, there was only about 300 or 400 of these made. And it's been a joy to have. It runs good, it runs cool, doesn't overheat. Every year you have to keep up with old cars.
That's part of the old car hobby.
You know, I just redid the bumpers this year. Next year I'll be doing the interior. And not that it's real bad, but that's the way you keep up with them. But it's been fun to have.
Now, a lot of people that are watching this show may not be car guys. Tell everybody about this spinner and the knockoffs and what that is and what that really means.
Well, it's a true knockoff, and what it was is for quick change. You take a lead hammer, spin them off, the wheel pops right off, and you can spin another one on quickly. It was really made for racing, but they put it on the street for a number of years, and you know, it's a nice feature. It comes with the car. They started in late '63, and they put the knockoffs to '67.
And now a lot of cars, the viewers that are watching this, they'll see that type of spinner or that type of a knockoff on other wheels, and really behind there'll be 5 lug nuts. But this is not that. This is the true hit that with a hammer, spin it off, and take the wheel off.
Well, there is an adapter that goes on the back that does have 5 lug nuts and holds it in place, and then the spinner is actually attached to that.
Okay, right.
So it does have an adapter in the back because these are standard disc brake hubs. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
And this was the first year for the 427, the second year for disc brakes, and the second year for transistorized ignition. So that was a fairly modern car for back in the day.
Right.
But it runs good, but it's no air conditioning. It's pretty hot.
Yes, it does. Bob, thank you very much for showing it to us today, and thanks for talking to us about it.
Thank you, Steve.
Bye-bye. In amongst all the muscle cars, street rides, and we saw even an old convertible, we found our way over to a 41 Packard, and I'm here with the owner. Tell us your name and tell us a little bit about the car.
Tom Greco is my name. It's a 41 Packard 160. The 160 and the 180 models in 1941 and a few years before that were the top of the line. It had the biggest 8-cylinder engine. It had all the extra trim on it. 41 is a special year because that's the first year for the two-tone paint, and even the running boards were optional. So you might see that it has no running boards on it. That was an option for 41.
It's a gorgeous car. Did you do the restoration or did you pick it up this way?
It was about 6 years ago. I found it at Hershey just the way it is. I looked at it, and since it was the year of my birth and I always wanted a classic, this is a classic by the Classic Car Club of America definition, not like today's definition of classic. I got weak at the knees and I had to buy it.
I understand that completely. I really do. I've owned a lot of muscle cars, but I've never owned a classic like this.
It's really a pleasure to drive it too. It's hard to steer because it doesn't have power steering and it's a pretty heavy car, but it's very smooth. The engine is very quiet. People can't even hear the engine running when I drove in today.
Now, do you have any idea what the weight on this vehicle is? This has got to be a heavy car.
It's around 2 tons, 4,000 pounds approximately. So this is the coupe model, and you can imagine then the sedans would have been heavier yet.
No, that would have been considered heavy, but today that's about the weight of a new Challenger.
I haven't paid attention to that.
It is. That's really pretty close. Now, the brake work. There's got to be a ton of money in keeping up with the brake work on this.
Well, it was all done when I bought the car, so I have not done any chrome plating on it. I have a couple of pieces that I'd like to do over again because they're not quite the way I like it, but that's sometime in the future. Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to look at the inside. What is the material in the inside? Is it the hair or is it the leather? What do we got?
They call it a broadcloth, and I think it's wool. but that's correct for what was in the car originally.
Right, right. Well, thank you very much for talking to us about it today. Thanks for showing it to us.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, we've made our way over to one of the last cars we're going to look at today. It's Monte Carlo. I'm not that current on these years. They're all pretty similar. I did see it's not a fast class car. It's a notchback. I'm here with the owner. Tell us your name and tell us a little bit about the car.
Hi, my name is Charles, and basically I bought the car back in November off an old lady, and it has 66,000 original miles on it.
Well, that's great. What year is it?
86.
It is an 86. Now, this front end, this was a popular front end. These were actually put on some of the El Caminos as well.
Yes. So that front end is the SS front end. So the regular Monte Carlo would have had a different, yeah.
Right, yeah, very different one-piece front end with the grille and everything. This is definitely a little bit different. Now, the fast class cars were made for homologation for NASCAR.
Yes, basically, so in NASCAR, they weren't fast enough the way they were with the notchback, so they added the fastback rear glass to make it slightly more aerodynamic.
Right, and they wanted to do that in NASCAR, but NASCAR rules say that there has to be so many street cars sold for homologation purposes on the street to race it in NASCAR as well.
Exactly. So starting in 86 and 87, they made the Aero Coupe version of it, and they only made enough to make it qualify in NASCAR.
Absolutely correct. Now this, I'm looking at this. This is loaded up. This looks like it's got all the buttons, air conditioning, and everything.
Yep. As far as I know, it has all the options except for the electric trunk release. It doesn't have that. But
you wonder how that one option would slip through the cracks.
Right, right. The only other thing, everything works on it except for the air conditioning. I still have to get that fixed and working.
Well, this is that time of year you need to get that done.
Well, that's what the T-tops are for.
I guess you're right. Well, thank you very much for showing it to us today. Thanks for bringing it out. Well, this has been a great show. What a great day. The weather held off. It really has been. The weather's held off for us. I'm here with LeBar. LeBar was the guy that was nice enough to put this all together. And how many years in a row is this?
This is 7.
7 years. It's hard to believe it's gone that long. Now, this is, of course, the opener for the Kirkwood Highway Cruise. I don't know what the future is going to hold the rest of the day. It was supposed to be raining by now, but it has held off. We opened off with Miss Delaware. And, LeBar, tell us about this show. When can everybody expect us back?
Well, we'll come back next year, the second week of August, and right here, this same spot. And probably same time.
Now, we're talking about doing this twice a year, right?
We're talking about twice a year. I haven't decided on the second one yet, but we will do it twice.
Well, thank you very much. As far as when our next event's going to be, I can't tell you for sure, but just stay tuned. We'll have some information on our next show. But do look for us for sure at the Delaware Park Show. The dates will be on the screen, and we'll see you then. Thanks for watching Crazy for Cars TV. We hope to see your car out here real soon.